Okay, so this problem is going to have a numerical answer because you have 0 and pi over 2. So because you have limits of integration there, that tells you that you're going to get a numerical answer. So we have to do this one by substitution, u substitution. On the bottom, we'll let the u equal this, because the u is usually something that is inside of something else or being squared. That's typically what you look for a u. So in that case, the u is equal to 4 plus sine theta. Now we're going to take the derivative of both sides of that. I get derivative of sine is just cosine, so cosine theta, d, don't forget about the d theta here on that side. Okay, so it's positive cosine there. Okay, next we're going to solve for d theta. So d theta is equal to du over cosine theta. So by solving for that. And now we're ready to put it back into the original one. So the original one, I'll write it temporarily without the limits there, the 0 and pi over 2. And we have 40 cosine theta. On the bottom, that's going to be u squared. That's our original u that we had there. And then we'll put the d theta in there, which is du over cosine theta. Now what we notice here is the cosines, those are both going to cancel out. The 40 we can put on the outside. So we get 40, and then what we're left with is there's really a 1 up here. So you have 1 divided by u squared. So I'm going to write that as u to the negative 2. So I've canceled out all the thetas, so u is my only variable that I have left. Now I'm ready to take the antiderivative. You raise the power by 1, divide by the new power. So that's going to be 40 u to negative 1 divided by negative 1. And then when we rewrite that, that's going to be negative 40 over u. But then that's going to be negative 40 over the original u I have here, 4 plus sine theta. And then now we can put our numbers in. Now one thing to be careful of when you're doing these kind of problems, before you put the 0 and the pi over 2 in there, make sure you actually put the u back in, and it's in terms of theta here. Because if I just had negative 40 over u, and I just use this to put my numbers in, it'd be incorrect, because you're trying to use theta values for something that has a u in it instead. So you either would have to convert your values over by using this to convert them into u values, or if you're just going to keep 0 and pi over 2, then you just have to make sure you put the u back in here. Now that we have this, we're ready to evaluate it. Negative 40 over 4 plus sine theta. We go from 0 to pi over 2 like that. It's always the top one and then the bottom one when we evaluate that. So negative 40 over 4 plus sine pi over 2. That's going to be minus the negative, so that's going to give you a plus 40 over 4 plus sine 0. Now for each of these, when you evaluate that, sine of pi over 2 is going to be a 1 from unit circle, and sine of 0 is 0. So on your note card, you want to make sure you also have a unit circle handy if you don't have these memorized, or if you don't have a calculator that will do exact values, then you want to make sure you have a unit circle so you can evaluate that. Okay, now this is going to be negative 40 over 5, so negative 8. And then this is 0, so that part's gone. So you have 40 over 4, which is going to be plus 10. So your answer, your final answer for the whole thing is going to be positive 2. And so that would be the integral from 0 to pi over 2. That's your exact answer.